Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. We're going to finish another background today, and as requested, I chose number 1. Here's the one you requested. Now, this is a napkin that I put down in this background, and then I used a stencil to do that black stenciling, and I thought it needed a lot of pushing back to the background. So I have my antique white paint and my brayer, and I'm going to town by pushing that bold pattern into the background. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I know I say that a lot, I apologize. But I knew that the background was just a little bold for me, and that's probably why I haven't finished it yet, because it scared me. It had a lot going on in that background and I didn't know what to do. So thanks for requesting this difficult one, and I really like how it turned out. So we'll go ahead and enjoy the process. And you see I was pointing there to the top middle. That is a postage stamp, just part of the napkin, and I thought, ooh, that gave me inspiration to dig out Sean Petit's postage stamp stencil, and I'll list all the stencils that I use below, but that one is called Postage 1. And that's kind of how I create. If I'm working on something and it sparks an idea, I just kind of stop and try and grab out what I was thinking about, put it on my desk, and see how I can incorporate it into the piece. And I did use this stencil, so that worked out pretty well. Well, it's the end of May right now. How are you guys all holding up? I guess the bars and restaurants are opening in my area. I haven't gone yet. I just don't like the thought of going to a restaurant and having everybody covered up with masks and stuff like that. I just rather eat at home, I guess. So hopefully you're doing well, and we're working on getting through this. So here now I'm just using a little bit of that paint and my dry brush and going ahead and adding a little bit more to the background. I'm going to give that a dry, and I'll be back. And I think I used some tan, and this is a color that I use a lot. You can see I'm almost out of it, and it's just a plain acrylic paint, and the color is called tan. So I wanted to add that to the background just to add a little bit more interest. And I like how those two colors blend together. And I do like the purple that's in the background, and I do bring out my colors of purple. And I did like the green that was in the bottom there, the foliage. So I did grab out my green paint also. And the background I am liking now. So I'm looking at my color chart, and I'm just trying to match up that green a little bit. I'm sorry, purple. Trying to match up that purple a little bit with some of the colors that I have. And I know that I am grabbing a green also. I'm just using a paint palette to the right there and just squeezing out a little bit of that paint on the paint palette, and we're just going to use that with my finger. Now I also like that texture, that print that was on the napkin, and it was just a little bit of script writing. So I grabbed that stamp out, and I thought butterflies, so I grabbed out a few butterflies from my stash. And everything's dry here, and I wanted to use a little bit of my burnt umber acrylic paint and some water and go ahead and do that wash. I'm being very careful here not to add too much water because we are working in an art journal, and I didn't want my book to completely fall apart by adding too much water. So I'm being real careful on how much water I add. and having a towel close at hand in case I got a little too carried away with the water. Just using a piece of paper there to protect my page behind it. And I kind of wanted to do one side and show you the difference between one side and the other, so you could kind of see the difference by adding this burnt umber paint and water. Now, I didn't want to spray a bunch of water on the back. Like I said, I didn't want to saturate my book too much, so I'm just using a baby wipe, and the baby wipe is quite wet, so I just wanted to show you how it looked there, the difference between the sides. I'm just wiping off as much as I'd like. And I didn't really need to protect that because it's the front part of the book, so just going ahead and doing both sides. I've been working out in the yard so much lately that my back is just killing me. It's really great exercise, but boy, I'm not the strong young lady I used to be. Apparently, I gotta do a little more stretching and exercise. Now look at how cool this baby wipe is turning out. I thought, oh, I'm gonna add a little water and kind of make that a little bit textured. I'm going to save this baby wipe, dry it, and I'm going to use it on a mixed media piece. I think it's turning out really kind of cool, kind of like, I don't know, animal print or something. So I set it aside to dry it, and I'm going to use it in the future. Okay, liking the background. I'm liking the background how it is. It's got a lot of great texture there and dimension. I grabbed out a little bit of white gesso, and I am going to add a little bit just to lighten up the background here and there, and I'm just going to be using a dry paintbrush, making sure everything is dry here. Alright, just using a very tiny bit on my brush at a time, and you can see I'm dabbing it off a little bit on that paint palette. I didn't want too much, but I just kind of needed to soften that brown a little bit. And you can see on the left there, I did dig out another stamp by Sean Petit. I'm on her design team, and she supplies these beautiful stencils for us to create with, and the word journey was really calling to me, so I thought enjoy the journey is the phrase that I was going to use. And I had this butterfly in my stash, and I thought that looked really great, and it gave some nice contrast to the colors. I started putting it down with my matte medium and a dry brush, and it just was not sticking to that background with all that texture, so I go ahead and use my matte gel. I put it underneath, and I put it over the top of the butterfly to stick it down real good. That's better. All right, now I'm going to put that word journey down, and I'm going to use my black archival ink in the color jet black and this makeup brush that I like to use for my stenciling, and I'm being real careful to make sure I get it all nice and complete and give it a really good impression. And as I was doing it, I bumped it a little bit, but I'm just going to put it back and go ahead and finish that word journey. And then I thought, well, I'll use another one of her stencils and I'll put enjoy the. So enjoy the journey. And that stencil that I'm using right there is called Script Fave Words 2. And I'll link it below. And then I'm digging out old type text. And I use this one a lot of Sean's. It's really nice because there's 3 different sizes. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 different sizes of letters. And that's very beneficial when you're purchasing one stencil to get 3 different sizes of the font. So a tip that I like to give everyone, it's not important to get your letters perfectly straight. Actually, it's a lot easier if you kind of make them crooked to begin with, because it's going to look more normal than if you try and get the letters all perfectly straight, and for sure you're not going to get them straight. And so this way it looks like you intended it that way, and crooked is fine. If you happen to get them straight, well, that's great, but it doesn't happen very often. So enjoy the journey, and I liked this background here very much. Now I'm going to use that postage stamp, and I use this a lot from Sean also. It's really great, and you can use it for obviously journey because you're traveling. I like it for lots of different pieces. Look at that, isn't that sharp? That black on that background looks real good. And I'm trying to decide where to put the next one, and I thought right down in the right hand corner, hanging off, because it creates that visual triangle, and that way your eye moves around the piece. So that looks good. Giving that butterfly just a little dry, it was still damp. I'm going to use those 3 colors of paint, but I think the first color that I use was maybe not the correct color. Here this was a little clogged, and so I just chop off the end. It's a very narrow tip, and it's always getting clogged, so I thought, well, let's fix it right away. So there's the green, and that green I use all the time, and it is, I want to say avocado. Yes, Light Avocado by Deco Art. And I'm just using my finger and just doing a little bit of finger painting. If I get too much on, I'm just wiping it off with that little baby wipe. And I'm just going around the piece and getting it the way I like it. Now that purple that I used there turned out to be real nice. And the 3 colors of purple I will definitely link below for you. Now I'm going to use my charcoal pencil around the butterfly, and I'm going to go over the letters of the words so that they are filled in completely. And we're going to use that black chalk writer around the edge and give it that black border. So I'm just showing you a visual triangle. I'm trying to go ahead and have the eye go around the piece. Now by adding that purple on those butterflies where they were underneath, I think it gave kind of just like a little bit of mysterious element to the piece, because you could see the butterflies, but yet not completely. You know they're there. I just really liked how it turned out. And I added a little bit of that white gesso there also, just to lighten it up a little bit. I like finger painting. Feels like you have so much control. Alright, giving it dry. Then we're going to use that black charcoal pencil, like I said, and that black edge. Making sure everything's dry here. And then I remembered I wanted to use that text stamp and bring that text to the background like the napkin had on it. I use this text stamp a lot. I'll link it below. And I'm going to use my archival ink in potting soil. And I just want to use little bits and pieces around the piece. And I wiped it off of the butterfly because I wanted it to look like it was underneath part of the background. There, that looks real nice. And making sure that that's dry before we go ahead and use the charcoal pencil or the black chalk writer for the edge so nothing gets smeared. Better safe than sorry. And archival ink dries quite quickly. And just using my 6B extra soft General's charcoal pencil and going around all the letters, filling in those gaps from the stencil and making everything just pop. Just going around the butterfly and using my finger to blend that charcoal, giving it a nice smudge. Now I can see some little areas that didn't fill in, so I do grab my skinny paintbrush and just a little water and go around those edges to fill them in completely. I'll have close-ups at the end of the video for you. I hope you like this series, and make sure you check out some of the other backgrounds in this series. There's maybe about 10 or so, and we'll do another one next Saturday. I love to hear your comments. Be sure that you subscribe to my channel and check me out on my other social media avenues, which would be Instagram and Pinterest, Facebook page. And I am working on doing some online classes. So check out my Facebook page and my blog, and they will be listed there. Love to have you. There, that paintbrush just filled it in real nicely around that edge of the butterfly. Just using a little water on my brush. I'm gonna protect my pages with some just plain paper, and I'm gonna go around the edge with that black chalk writer, which is just like a crayon. You can use a Tim Holtz Distress crayon in black soot. You can use a black marble crayon, which I'll link below for you. Or you can use a black gelato. And I tell people you could even use black lipstick if you had it, as long as you seal it in the end, just with the little fixative. It won't smudge after you seal it. So don't be afraid. Go ahead and use the products that you have. I'm glad you joined me this week, and I'll see you again next Saturday for another art journal page that we're going to finish. Enjoy the pictures. Have a great week. And don't forget to check me out on Tuesdays for a mixed media project. Thanks for watching.